She didn't hesitate when she said it. That's what made everything after feel simple. I've fallen in love with someone else. No build-up, no soft introduction. Just a statement that sounded like it had already been decided somewhere else, long before she brought it to me. I didn't ask who, I didn't ask when. There are questions that only make sense if you're trying to stay. I wasn't. We're done, I said. It came out clean. No weight behind it. Or maybe all the weight was already inside it. She blinked, like she needed a second to catch up. You're not even going to. No, I said. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't interrupt her aggressively. I just didn't open anything that didn't need to be opened. There was nothing to discuss that would change the structure of what she'd already told me. That seemed to unsettle her more than if I'd reacted. I think she expected resistance, questions, maybe even a chance to reconsider. But once something is said like that clearly, without confusion, it doesn't leave much room. I stood up and walked past her, not to leave, not yet, just to begin. Packing didn't feel emotional. It felt procedural. Her things were where they had always been, mixed into the space like they belonged. And maybe they did, until a few minutes ago. I started separating them. Clothes first, then smaller things. Items that didn't look like much on their own but together formed a presence. She watched for a while. "You're really doing this right now?" she asked. I didn't answer immediately. Because it wasn't about timing. It was about alignment. "You said what you said," I replied. "This is just the part that follows." There was something in her expression then, not regret, exactly. More like discomfort at how quickly everything was becoming real. I handed her the first bag. Not aggressively, just finished. She took it without arguing. That surprised me more than anything. Maybe she didn't know what argument would fit. By the time the second bag was by the door, the space already felt different. Not empty, just defined. "I didn't think you'd react like this," she said quietly. I nodded once. "I didn't either," I said. That was the closest thing to honesty that felt necessary. When she left, it wasn't dramatic. No slammed door, no final words, just a quiet exit that matched the way everything else had unfolded. I locked the door behind her. Then, after a second, I changed the locks. Not out of anger, out of completion. That was the external line. The one that made everything before it irreversible. After that, there was nothing to revisit. The apartment was still. But it didn't feel like something had been taken. It felt like something had been resolved. The days that followed weren't heavy. No replaying conversations. No wondering what could have been different. Because nothing unclear had happened. She told me exactly where she stood. I responded to that position. That was it. Life didn't transform overnight. I didn't suddenly become someone else. But my time stopped orbiting around something uncertain. That alone changed enough. Weeks passed. Then a month. By then the situation had settled into something that didn't require attention. That's why the knock felt out of place. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, she was there. For a second it didn't register. Not because I didn't recognize her, but because she didn't fit into the version of my life that existed now. Her expression was different. Not composed, not certain. Something had worn down. "Can we talk?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. Not because I needed time, because I was trying to understand what she expected that conversation to be. Then she looked past me and saw her, standing just inside the apartment. Not close to me, not positioned in a way that suggested anything dramatic. Just present. The silence shifted, not sharply, just enough. "This isn't," she started, then stopped. I didn't step outside, didn't close the door either. There was no need to control the moment. "You moved on," she said. It wasn't a question. I nodded. "So did you," I replied. That landed differently, not as an accusation, as a mirror. Her expression tightened slightly, not from anger but from recognition. "It didn't work," she said. "I didn't ask for details. I didn't need them." She stepped forward slightly, like she was trying to close the space between what had happened and what she wanted now. "I made a mistake." Maybe she did. But mistakes don't always reopen what they close. I looked at her. Not the version I knew, but the one standing there now. Different context, different timing. I believed you, I said. That was the only explanation that felt accurate. She nodded slowly, like she understood something she hadn't before. Not about me. About the moment she created. There was nothing else to add. She didn't argue. Didn't try to push past the boundary. Because it wasn't defensive. It was already set. After a few seconds, she stepped back. The distance returned. Not forced, just where it belonged. I closed the door gently. No finality in the sound. That had already happened a month ago. This was just the part where it became visible to both of us.